All right, we're live on YouTube. What's up, YouTube? Already live on TikTok. Got some good questions there. I was not live the past 2 weeks on Thursday or Tuesday of last week. I was in Ireland playing 4 links golf courses, which was dope. My brother-in-law, who I was playing with, is a former professional, so he's a +4 handicap. I'm down to an 8 now, which has been like the story of my football offseason, which I'm fucking hyped on. New clubs coming this week, but that was sweet. And then I was in Paris for a wedding as well, which hot take, but and I love my wife, but traveling with friends and family outside of just your significant other is kind of awesome. Like I love my wife, she's great. We can always kick it just us two. Don't get me wrong. When you got friends and family there, the dinners, the energy, you can still have your date night, but then you can come back and still have your friends and family moments too, which was sick. It's my second time being in Paris, which is an absolute blessing. I was in I went last year for the Olympics on a brand deal campaign, but this year with no itinerary and no events and just waking up and seeing where the day takes you in Paris, that's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. They stumble into like a little food market, share a bottle of wine at the park, living life large, man. Come back, but I was ready to come back and coming right back into football season. So I'm going to be behind on a lot of the football storylines. I have not been keeping up with training camp. I've been trying to follow media days, but that's my research assignment this week. My first gig for the football season will be August 6th, heading out to Pitt to do a road show. And I guess I haven't announced this on social media formally, but for the 12 of you on TikTok and the 6 of you on YouTube right now, I guess this is the reward for being a true OG. But I signed a deal with ESPN this year, which I'm fired up on. I'll be calling a full slate of ACC network games, which I'm fired up on. And so my first gig with them will be August 6th on the road show. So shout out to all you guys. Again, we got limited numbers, but if you're in this chat, you've been a big part of building the content brand and the content world to get to a point where I get these opportunities, and I'm fired up, man. So for those of you that have no idea what I'm talking about, I called a full slate of games last year for the CW. This will be a one notch up. It'll be a lot of the similar teams, but yeah, catch me. I think I'll have the 3:30 Eastern time slot all season long on ACC Network. Pumped to call some games. So that's a big update on my end. I'll do like a formal post in some capacity on the social channels, but that's coming, man. Nicole, appreciate it. Drew, appreciate it. Johan, yes sir. Thanks, man. I'm fired up. How was the Skyline golf tourney? It was sick, dude. I was driving. That was like the best driving round I've ever had, which was dope. That's the way to do it. When you're playing a golf scramble, if you're driving the ball well, that's how you score. We got beat. The group that beat us got 16 under in a scramble. Kind of calling BS. 16 under in a scramble, unless you have like 3. Dude, that's hard to get even with 3 scratch golfers in your group. Anyways, they got it done. We only got like 9 under. Thanks, Nicole. I appreciate it. I'm fired up too. Big announcement. I know I said it kind of low key, but super long time coming. It was cool. A little backstory. So this will be like my 4th or 5th season calling games. Only my 2nd year with a full package. But it was one of those things. I got my first game in 2020 during the pandemic. Called it UAB Louisiana Tech with Chris Hassel. That was my first game. Then 2021. Pac-12 Network, I think, gave me 3 games. I had like, you know what? I think my 2nd game, I had Montana's upset over Washington, which was kind of wild. Like that was the biggest upset in college football that year. But 3 games in 21, 3 games in 22, 6 games in 23. And then last year had 16 games every weekend. And then we'll be doing the same thing this year. I think I'm scheduled to get a bowl game. So fast forward 4 months, which will be here before we know it. 5 months when you guys are chilling on your couch. Stay tuned for whatever bowl game I got. But I'm excited, man. It'll be fun. Thanks, Sam. Appreciate you, dude. Football's well with you, man. Joe Burrow is funny. I was taking a workout class yesterday, and the instructor stopped me and was like, yo, anyone ever tell you look like Joe Burrow? and this always happens, but people think they're like brand new with that take. And I was like, you know what? Kind of happens once a week. What's top of mind for you guys, though? What's going on in the football world? I feel like I said this before I went on vacation last week, but the live that we had, 10 days ago, 12 days ago, I was like, that live is probably going to be the last live where we aren't manufacturing football storylines. Like, we'll actually have something to talk about. What's new? What's new in training camp? What are we paying attention to? I saw the Nick Saban to the Browns Colin Cowherd take. That's crazy. That's crazy. Why would Nick Saban want to go to the Browns, a historically bad franchise, come out of retirement where he's got a sweet TV gig, playing golf 4 times a week, to coach the Cleveland Browns and a rookie quarterback? If Nick Saban's coming out of retirement, it's a situation that already has the pillars in place. Dallas makes more sense. You got Dak. You got a franchise quarterback. I don't even know if that'll get him out of retirement. But I mean, we'll see what happens with a Mike Tomlin after this year. I think firing Tomlin's crazy talk, but I also know Pittsburgh fans are tired of that. What happens if the Bills fall short again? How long are they going to roll with this? At some point, as a lifelong LeBron fan, I've seen great franchise after great franchise fire their head coach because they can't get over the hump. Sean McDermott, I'm not sure. He's a great coach, but at a certain point, you got to start thinking that way. Point is, Nick Saban's not coming out of retirement for a bad franchise with a rookie quarterback, unless he's getting paid absolutely out of his mind. Thoughts on Minnesota, Luke? Did you ask that a couple weeks ago? I don't have a take. I gotta study up. I don't want to miss you. Do I prefer West Coast or East Coast football? Ooh, as a guy who lived it firsthand, I prefer West Coast because at every age group, you're waking up to football. So you wake up to college game day, and then you go straight into the 9 a.m. kickoff. So you get the whole day. And then when Pac-12 was rocking and rolling, you got Pac-12 after dark, which was amazing. Just chilling with your homies, watching the West Coast game, which for West Coasters, the West Coast game matters. For East Coasters, it might just be like a gambling slot. But it's definitely West Coast football. I will say the one thing I noticed about living on the East Coast for college football is when you're sitting at the bar at like 10 p.m. and you're in that like the 9 to 11 window when you're like in your young 20s, early 20s, when you're pre-gaming to have legitimate college football on is kind of dope, not going to lie. And then you go straight into like getting after it from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. But that chunk to have like a real slate of games, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. when you're on the East Coast, that's the one thing that West Coast misses out on. West Coast still has games on, but you're tailing off. You're not pre-gaming with your people while real college football's on, which that's the benefit that East Coast has there. Excited to see Matthew Golden. He's a stud. I need DJ Lagway to stop getting hurt. Okay, is that a thing? Jax 904. So I got word of that from like a little inside source this about a month ago that he was struggling with some injury stuff. Is that a thing now? Now that training camp's here, are they actually? Yep. I missed that. DJ Lagway hurt. See, I heard about that a month ago, and the person that told me was like, "Yo, that's on the down low." What's he hurt with? Lower leg injury, start of fall camp. Series of ailments for the sophomore quarterback, including shoulder and core injuries described, not long term. Those things add up, man. Those things add up. How did he get it? Did he get it like training? Or was it a like weird post spring ball lingering thing? Don't like that though. Don't like that. There's a reason it's very rare to ever hear a starting quarterback be hurt at the start of college training camp. NFL, all right, you got some guys that are old, they got kids, they don't need all of the runway of what training camp is to get ready. But college kids, it's tough. What do I think of the new college football game? The video game? I don't play video games. Sorry, so I don't really got a take there. Video games are awesome. I would if shoot, if I was single and didn't cover football for a living, I'd probably play it, but only so many hours in the day. You're eating ravioli right now, dude. I just had turkey meatballs for lunch. It's fun. Nicole, who's your squad? Christian Wilkins getting cut. Drew, what's the latest there? I saw it was like a quoted saying he did something freaky, which is always sketch. Are you going to be working the SMU Baylor game? I don't know. I don't have my game slot. I'll keep you guys posted. Should be coming soon. I don't know. Joe Bryson, did you like playing at the Dome? We talking Kibby Dome? We talking Tacoma Dome? Tacoma Dome's best high school venue that they got. Skyline going to be good this year. That's what I hear. They got some dudes. Coach Pluer's hyped. If there's some Skyline guys in the chat, I'm doing the voiceover for your guys' intro video when you run out of the tunnel, and I actually got to film that today. So that's coming. It'll be hype. Make a note of that. Yo, here's a question for you guys. I'm game planning my live schedule for the football season. Like, I'm going to do 2 a week for an hour. When's the best time to do that during football season? Like, when are you guys actually wanting to tune in? And here's my ideas. So I take a flight to the East Coast every Thursday at noon during the football season. So basically, like Thursday night, I think is a great slot because it's early enough to, like, that's right when people really start thinking about the Saturday matchups, right? It's Junior. You want the lowdown on your team for Saturday. You want nuggets, but I can't do it Thursday night because I'll be traveling. Friday, by the time I go live, you could do that, but it's tough. I'm thinking for sure, though, a Sunday night slot because the college football clock really shifts to the next week, Monday morning. If you do Sunday night, I think the dream slot, which this is just a larger take that I have in general, an untapped TV window for college football, or really any football, but especially for college football, is the hour-long window before Sunday Night Football after the last slate of games. And so I'm thinking that's when I'll go live. So it'll be like, call it 4:30 West Coast time, 7:30 East Coast time, Sundays for an hour, reacting to what happened yesterday in college football and then whatever top-of-mind storylines are there for NFL. If you go any later, you run the risk of your stuff just not being as relevant. Or if you're going to wait to post college football stuff on Monday or Tuesday, you have to have a really well thought out take. So, people know to tune in versus you have more leeway as a sports commentator when you're reacting just like 4, 6, 8 hours later, rather than like multiple days later. Thoughts on Damon Williams Jr.? Let me know your thoughts on that as you think about that. We like early morning. We like lunchtime. I've been doing lunchtime this year or this offseason because it seems sustainable, but let me know if you have ideal live time slots. I love Damon Williams' game. I've said this take every single week on these lives, but I love college quarterbacks in the offseason that their fan base is fired up on their game, yet the national college football world doesn't know who they are. That's how Damon Williams is right now. Husky fans, they're juiced. Husky fans, no, that's the guy. National college football fans, you ask an Auburn fan, they don't know who Damon Williams is. That's a good spot to be in. And then the vice versa, the inverse of that's also true. I don't like quarterbacks where we feel the need to anoint them, right? We feel the need to make rankings. We feel the need to project who's going to be next year's first-round NFL quarterback. We stretch on a guy like a Drew Aller, or we maybe anoint a guy like Arch Manning before he's actually ready. Those guys, I'm a believer in Arch, but those guys, to me, we get ahead of ourselves on. We did it last year with Carson Beck. No one's talking about Carson Beck really right now, yet he was the number one potential overall pick this time last year for the 2025 draft. So like Damon Williams, love John Mateer at Oklahoma. I mean, if you're locked into college football, you know who John Mateer is, but the average fan, I don't know if they do. Miller Moss at Louisville is intriguing to me. The SMU guy is intriguing. Kevin Jennings is really intriguing to me. That's where I'm at. Thoughts on CJ Carr? I don't know the latest lowdown at ND's quarterback situation, so I got nothing there. Prebula, love Prebula, exactly. Nolan Charg, great call. Prebula falls into that same bucket. Like, I think because he was all over the headlines last December and January, most college football fans know who he is, but that's a good guy to keep your eye on. I will say, damn, Missouri's got a tough run at this thing, man. To go at an SEC school where no one's really talking about Missouri. Sure, they could win. Drinkwitz is a great coach. They could do some things, but for Prebula's sake, I almost wish he landed at like USC, to be honest. Or like, I just think it's going to be really hard to win games at Missouri. Does Miller Moss start at Louisville? Is that a battle? I didn't realize that. I thought for sure he would start 100%. 100%. What else we got? Nicole staying active. Nicole's MVP of the live right now. Someone else has got to ask the question of the day to cap Nicole over there on YouTube Live. What are your thoughts on Georgia's new quarterback, Gunnar Stockton? Ooh, it's a great question. I am hesitant on Gunnar Stockton only because the standard at Georgia is to win national titles. And if you rank Gunnar Stockton in terms of who are the best SEC quarterbacks, he falls at like number 6, number 7, number 8. You might even argue number 9. I think it's really hard, even if you're Georgia, to win the SEC with the 7th, 8th, or 9th best quarterback in the conference. So is Gunnar Stockton good quarterback? Yes. I think you need great to win the SEC, especially in a year where I think there's a lot of great college quarterbacks, a lot of great SEC college quarterbacks. So I'm slow to roll. I also think this is never a fun conversation to have, but his playing style is a recipe to get injured, which is tough. And I don't think he's elite at winning from the pocket. Is he bad? No. But I think his game is very much leg, run, create oriented, which you can win games there. Right? You can win double-digit games with that. I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback, but I don't think you can win a national title with Gunnar Stockton as your quarterback. Travis, good to see you. Good to see you. Heisman dark horse. AWA wiffle ball. Heisman dark horse. Who do I got for you? Dante Moore probably would be my Heisman dark horse. I'm much higher on Dante than I am. Same reason I said before. I'm much higher on Dante than I am other people. I called his first ever start in college football. I think the average fan latched on too much to his UCLA days and forgot that he was a true freshman on a team that wasn't that great. That's a tough spot to be on. The fact that Oregon did not go out and get a quarterback, all the reports you read, I think there's a lot of confidence there. I think there's a lot of dark horse Heisman upside in what Dante Moore could be. What do you think Sellers' Heisman chance is? M. Hurl 13. On that note, I got to plug my YouTube video. I got a huge YouTube video coming out on LaNorris Sellers this Thursday, coming out at 9 a.m. West Coast time. So go out, type Max Brown on YouTube, follow the channel, don't miss out on that video. It's titled, "Is He the Next SEC Superman?" A lot of headlines say he's Cam Newton Jr. I dove into his film. I watched 4 games from last year, and then I ranked him on all the 5 categories of what it means to be a quarterback: arm strength, accuracy, legs, brain, and one other one. I forget what it is. Decision-making, maybe. And I tap into the footage. I show the good, the bad, and actual all 22 live game reps. I promise, if you're an SEC fan, for sure. If you're a South Carolina fan, it's a no-brainer watch. If you're an SEC fan or a quarterback fan as well, check it out. But LaNorris Sellers video coming out Thursday. What are my thoughts on him? He needs to take a huge step to get in the conversation of being a first-round quarterback. Can he get there? Sure. I think he's got a strong foundation. But to say right now he's a first-round quarterback, no. He's got a long ways to go. What I'm intrigued with, though, is I think there's a lot more of the playbook that can open up for South Carolina. I got the sense that like early on in the season last year, they didn't really trust him to like win and operate from the pocket. And then that slowly developed as the year went on. I expect South Carolina to open up that playbook more. And I could totally see LaNorris Sellers taking the next step, but he needs to do that to get into the first round conversation. But like right now, to me, Garrett Nussmeier, if he just stays on the trajectory he's on, he'll be in the first round NFL draft conversation. Drew Aller, he'll be in the first round NFL draft conversation. I mean, I even think Arch is there right now. But I need to see one more notch from LaNorris Sellers. The big thing that people forget with LaNorris Sellers is he doesn't run big like Cam Newton. Cam Newton was always falling forward. Cam Newton was lowering his shoulder on linebackers. LaNorris Sellers is a big dude. He doesn't run that way. I made this comp in the video, but his mobility style in the pocket and just in general honestly reminds me of Johnny Manziel. It's not the chaos of Johnny Manziel, but the way he moves in the pocket reminds me of Johnny Manziel. Some of you guys might be like, Max, you're out of your mind. Trust me. Now that I said that, watch that. You'll be like, yep, I got you. Sellers is him. If they didn't get hurt, they would have destroyed LSU last year. Yeah, so I was watching that game. I was like, dude, why is that number 1 guy in there? I forgot that he got hurt in that game. Nicole Kaplan, if you can give any advice to help throw deep ball and accurate. Whew. I mean, throwing the deep ball is so much of a touch thing. So much of a touch thing. Like an actionable. I mean, I'll go basic. Like, make sure your shoulders are tilted up and then finish through like you're shooting a 3-pointer. You'd be surprised how many people throw a deep ball like this, just like if you're driving a golf ball. You'll never drive the golf ball well if your shoulders are even or down. The physics doesn't work. Shoulder up and then finish like you're having a 3-point shot. That'll force you to put air on the ball, force you to throw a touch. That's the best thing I got for you. And don't overstride. It's a good call. Good call, Travis. Is Wilcox on the hot seat? Justin Wilcox? I don't think so. I think the decision makers at Cal know how difficult of a hand Justin Wilcox has been dealt over the past 4 or 5 years. Cal does not have the institutional support like, at least in the Pac-12 days, like a lot of those California schools do. That COVID year and the year after, I know it's a distant memory, but he navigated that as good as any coach could have, given the hand that he was dealt. How many wins did Cal get last year? I mean, Cal lost their 2 best offensive players this year simply because of NIL. The way Wilcox gets in trouble is if Stanford takes a leap and Cal doesn't. Cal went 6-7. They've been kind of at that for like 4 or 5 years. I love Wilcox, though. Wilcox used to visit me in high school when I was a 9th grader. He was at Washington. He was the young defensive coordinator, and then he was with me at USC. Love Wilcox, man. I'm a diehard LSU fan. Hopefully we take care of Clemson. I wish I could shout out, man, but your username is period. I am very intrigued with LSU. Very intrigued. Feels like they kind of get glossed over. I'm super high on Nussmeier. LSU's run game was poop last year. I don't think that'll happen again this year. You give Garrett Nussmeier a run game, I think they could do some damage. What's LSU's win total? Vegas win total. That could be a good little line I give you guys. What's their over-under? What do we got here? Did I play against Bothell for Kinko? Yeah, my sophomore year and senior year. My sophomore year, we played them twice in one season. 8.5 wins. LSU's projected win total, 8.5 wins. Then we're going to go to the LSU schedule. Let me share a little tab with you guys. YouTube Live, I'll share this. See, LSU schedule. Let's break this down. Let's see if this is a line you like. LSU Clemson. All right, Clemson's going to be favored to win that, but it's not. I mean, that can go the other way. La Tech, I like that. Florida at LSU. I'll take LSU right now in that game. Those of you guys that have followed my live know that I'm slow to roll on Florida a little bit. Extremely high, but their schedule is a nightmare. So they're 2-1 after Florida, 3 Louisiana. Then they go Ole Miss, South Carolina, Vanderbilt. Can they go 2-1 in that stretch? Can they go 2-1 between Ole Miss, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt? So then that would put them at sorry, I can't do math today. It's 2-1, 4-1. Sorry, 2-1, 3-1, 4-1, 5-1. That's 5-2 heading into Texas A&M. Texas A&M's on the road. On paper, you got to like LSU's chances there. Between LSU, Bama, and Arkansas, or sorry, A&M, Alabama, and Arkansas, can they go 2-1 between that and be 7-3, 8-3 versus Western Kentucky, and then you finish with Oklahoma? What did I say their win total was? What did I say their win total was? What's my thing? 8.5. I had their win total at 8 before the bowl game. It's not a line I'd put money on, but I'm intrigued with that. User 86364448754143. Gotta get you a new username, but thank you for looking out. What else we got here? Andrew Brown, new to the YouTube live. Appreciate you hanging. Must be nice being a Chiefs fan. Who do you think will end up being the best quarterback out of the 2025 draft class? Gosh, it's tough, man. I was a big Jackson Dart guy. I think that situation is going to be really, really tough for him. It's a weird situation with the Russell dynamic right now for a rookie quarterback. If Jackson does get put in, it means that the Giants are losing, which means that the Giants will need a new head coach, which then means that Jackson will have to learn a new system next year, and he's in New York. It's just a tough situation. Tyler Shuck, I'm not there with him. Made a YouTube video that I'm super proud of. Tyler Shuck, type in Tyler Shuck, Max Brown, it'll come up. Check it out. It's good stuff. I was a Shador guy. But again, the Brown situation is gosh, I want to give you a good answer here. Is there like a dark horse candidate? The Quinn Ewers Miami one is interesting to me. I'm going to go Cam Ward. Because it's the best situation. It's the best situation of the talent that he brings to the table and then the franchise being aligned with his time frame. So I'm going Cam Ward. I think it's important for Cam Ward, though, to get off to some level of success early. I just think he's on this like momentum wave that I'm intrigued to see. Like he's never been criticized during his football career. No one knew who he was in high school. Balls out his freshman year at Incarnate Ward. And I guess he was criticized a little bit that first year at Washington State. And he struggled to kind of adjust that first year at Washington State. Like it wasn't – the adjustment from Washington State to Miami was much easier for Cam Ward than Incarnate Ward to Washington State in terms of like you watch the film and on-field performance. And so I'm very intrigued to see the adjustment from, all right, Miami to the NFL. But if I was a betting man, Cam Ward, I like Shador. I like Dylan Gabriel, but I think that situation's just a mess. So I'll go Cam Ward on that. Great question, though. Great question. What are your thoughts on Ty Simpson? Jaden, I haven't seen enough of him, to be honest. That quarterback battle is really interesting to me. Has he officially won the job? He hasn't officially won the job because the other guy, the Washington transfer, Austin Mack, that guy's intriguing to me because there were a lot of people that were fired up on him. So unless I missed something while I was traveling last week, which let me know if I did, I think that's going to be a neck-and-neck battle with obviously Keelan Russell too. How different was the atmosphere in Pitt versus USC? A lot different. The mentality at USC when you're playing for a blue blood program, just making a bowl game is not successful. When the reality is at Pitt, that is some of the temperament of like, hey, it's a respectable season or good season when you make a bowl game. The expectation at USC is you're going to Rose Bowls, winning national titles in the thick of conference title conversation in November. Pitt, they might not say it. We might not say it. but there's a subtle, a pleasant surprise when that's the case. So it's a different vibe there. Even more so than that, though, is every single scholarship player that goes to USC is expecting to be in the NFL. It's not the case for Pitt. A lot of guys are, but there's also a chunk of Pitt's roster that when they become juniors and seniors, they deep down, they might not tell you this, but they know deep down that college football is kind of the end of the road for them. And there's much more of a, which I found refreshing, much more of appreciation for college football and those years and how precious those games are. There's a little bit more camaraderie as a result at Pitt than when my time at USC, because at USC, for all those guys, it's just the next step along the way to get to the NFL, which you want that, right? That's how the best players should think. But it was much more businessy rather than Pitt was a little bit more, hey, I'm a college football player, and if the NFL works out and that happens, great. But it's not necessarily the end-all, be-all for every man in that roster. Saints went bowling today. Did you ever have team bonding events like that? Yeah, Pat Narduzzi at Pitt took us to that, what's that, water waves thing, that like water theme park in Pittsburgh. That was fun. That was a good time. I think they still do that. Helton would have like a snow cone truck outside, In-N-Out truck. What else did we do? Went to movies. Bro, the camp movie is the best off-field team bonding exercise because you're absolutely cooked camp. It's usually super effing hot. Go to an air-conditioned movie theater and just grub on popcorn and M&Ms and get some soda and just chill out with the player and like relax and like sit in a recliner. That was the best. I forget which USC coach, man. I had like fucking 4 different USC head coaches. I forget who did that, but that's the best. That's the best team bonding activity. What else did we do? We had like a little swim situation at USC one time. Had to like a relay race with the song girls. A lot of guys be getting fired up about that, 2 football players relay race with a song girl in the pool. It's good vibes. What was my favorite stadium to play in college? Favorite stadium on the road at Rice-Eccles, Utah. My take 5 years ago was it's the most underrated atmosphere in college football. That take has been stolen. I think that's more mainstream now. But we had Utah oftentimes on a Friday night. That was rocking. So I always appreciate, because no one talks about that. Everyone talks about Oregon and Penn State and Washington on the road. But Rice-Eccles, don't sleep on the Utes and the Mighty Muss. Wait, were you there with Coach O? Yes, I was. Coach O recruited me in high school. I was a national prospect, so he would go after all the guys that were not from Southern California. So he would come to my high school and talk about how trippy that was for a 17-year-old kid. Like, I grew up watching The Blind Side, and then the coach from The Blind Side is now recruiting me. So, like, I'm living out a movie scene in that movie. Wild. But, yeah, Coach O recruited me, and then I played under Lane Kiffin. What are your thoughts on these OCs trying to go over the top quarters coverage with average receivers? Gosh, I love a good X's and O's question, official, not Brian. Love a good X's and O's question. What are your thoughts on these OCs trying to go over the top quarters coverage with average receivers? At first glance, I got no problem with that. You give me a nice, over the top quarters beater. That was my absolute favorite. You go here, like a little 2x2. That's the line. And you go, your Y and your Z. You go Y on a basic. Cover 4 safety has to come down, and you go post over the top with a speedster. Give me a post over the top with like a, here's a name for you, little Jester Wea at Pitt. That's big time. Sorry, green marker was just not the choice. But a basic with a post over the top. I love it. I got no problem with it. What are you implying with that question? Jordan Addison. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if that's what you were saying, but user 8636444. Jordan Addison was money on this play. Sorry, over the wrong shoulder. YouTube, if you're wondering why I have a towel in the background right there. Played in a my brother-in-law had me out for a golf tourney and like a little scramble golf tourney. 9 holes. We were 6 under. Him and his buddy are sick. And that's the towel we won in a chip off. Or I guess we lost in a chip off. There were 2 teams tied and we won that. So I got to put it on my golf bag. Picking up the new clubs this afternoon. I'm fired up. What's the best defense you ever faced? Nick Saban, Alabama. And not just because of the talent, but the depth of what they have, which their defensive coordinator was Tosh Lupoy. Shout out Tosh. He's the homie. He recruited me when I was a freshman in high school. He was the second coach to ever offer me. So he was their defensive coordinator 9 years later when I faced him. It's funny, side note. Tosh Lupoy, Alabama defensive coordinator. I'm gearing up for my first start. I know him on a personal level. He's the brother of one of my best friends. And then he also recruited me back in the day. And he comes up to me before that start versus Alabama. And he made some comment of like, don't piss yourself or something like that. It was like tongue in cheek, but also like he knows I'm fucking nervous out of my mind. First start, national TV versus Alabama. But he was like, don't piss yourself now, or something like that, which I respect. It's the gamesmanship. But it was Nick Saban's defense under Tosh Lupoy. The way that they were able to disguise not only all the blitz packages they had, but rolling back and forth between cover 3 and quarters. They did that as seamless as any defense that I faced, with limited tells and limited, showing their hands. Penn State also was nice. Marcus Allen, that safety, I'll never forget. He was super good. I'm surprised he didn't do more in the NFL unless I'm missing something. What's your favorite receiver you've ever had on your team? The first guy that comes to mind, I hope this gets clipped. Feel free to do it. First guy that comes to mind is Darius Rogers at USC. D-Raj was just the best, man. He never complained, always was like in your boat with you as the quarterback. It was never like I'm against you kind of thing. I thought he was one of the most underrated receivers at USC in that like 3 or 4 year time period. He wasn't as highly recruited as like all the guys around him, yet was as productive as all of them. And then he had the best hands of any receiver that I ever threw to. D-Raj, baby. Uno. Yes, sir. You give me a little goal line fade to D-Raj, that's the dude. It's funny. He posted an Instagram video. Somehow D-Raj, if you see this, he posted an Instagram video 2 days ago of like him on the street with his homies, like practicing receiver releases, like, 7 years removed from playing football. Thoughts on Happy Gilmore 2? Love it. Noah, thanks for the question. I'm not here for the Happy Gilmore 2 slander. Like, what did you think, turning on a sequel movie that's 30 years delayed? What did you expect? The plot to be dynamic and the cameos to be 100% authentic and all the golfers to act like they were A-list actors? Get out of here. Happy Gilmore was great. It was a great one-time watch. The cameos were amazing because the plot was not that great. And so the cameos kept you guessing of, hey, every 3 minutes you're going to get another cameo. The people hating on Happy Gilmore, get out of here. You're just doing that as rage bait. What'd you expect from a Happy Gilmore 2 movie, again, that is debuting 30 years after the original? We all knew it was never going to size up to the original movie, which was a phenomenal movie, maybe top 10 movie for me all time. Maybe more. I've watched that movie more maybe than any other movie ever. I thought Happy Gilmore was the type of movie where I'm going to watch it once and that's it. I'll probably never watch it again, but it was great. It was great. And if you're hating on Happy Gilmore, I'm going to say you're coming in with some uneducated or an unaware starting point. Shawshank #1. I ain't having anything else. I see you with that. Shawshank will make my top 10. Here's a weird niche play for you guys. My favorite movie. What do you guys think my favorite movie is? Noah, is that Breaking 50 video good? I'm not a Bryson guy, dude. What was up with his quote about when he's like, Rory's boobs were my boobs or something like that? That was weird. How did that even make that in there? Goodfellas is good. I actually watched Goodfellas from start to finish for the first time earlier this spring. That's your guess. The Tooth Fairy. No. My favorite movie is National Treasure. National Treasure, Nick Cage. I want to believe I'm like a wannabe history buff. I have to like work at it, but I love U.S. history and I love documentaries and reading up on it. And I want to believe that those type of storylines exist. The National Treasure storylines, still in the Declaration of Independence. Big National Treasure guy. And sources tell me on the third one, fired up about that. Fired up. White Chicks, Top Gun, the movie, Independence Day. Travis, if you got any history buff recommendations, let me know. I've been Amazon Prime has a bunch of good ones. American Experience pillar. They go through like deep dives of like Teddy Roosevelt, FDR, Abraham Lincoln, but it's not just like when I was in high school and you like sat down for history doc, you know, it was always like they're interviewing guests and they just like B-roll still images. And it was like cool, but it's not dynamic. The new school with this format is they do interviews, but then they also act out scenes with professional actors, which makes it engaging. Check it out. It's called like the umbrella, you know, topic is called the American Experience, and they have different ones. They're great. I also love U.S. history, also because as you get older, history leaves clues, man. History leaves clues. This is not the first time in U.S. history we're dealing with tariffs and the shenanigans around tariffs. It's not the first time in U.S. history we're dealing with big business being involved in politics. Not the first time we have a situation with the Middle East. And you can like, when you watch and read and listen and learn, history leaves clues, man. History leaves clues. Noah going rogue on me, man. The Henry Ford one. Oh, Travis, I have not listened to the Henry Ford one. I listened to the JP Morgan one, though. I'm going to write that down. I got to check that out, dude. Cool. SC alum here. SC alum here. Bonjour. What's up? Thought you were going to be a successful QB for us. Why do you think it didn't work? I get this question probably once a month, and I feel like my answer is different every single month. There's so many different ways to take this. I'll give you like the few different pillars. I think part of it is if I was given 9 different football lives, I think I'm living one of them where they didn't work out. Like I think if you literally just ran the different simulations, there are certainly had external factors unfolded differently for me. There's a world where it works out for me. I fully believe that. I think I had the talent to do that. Did I have the, hey, you're the next Peyton Manning NFL first ballot Hall of Famer talent? Okay, sure. Maybe I didn't have that because, and that's where they, you know, went wrong, so to speak. But I do think, and I think coaches I played with, players I played with, like it wasn't like I was just totally whiffed and it was like, dude, this guy's got no talent, which, hey, fans, you only saw me on like 7 Saturdays my entire career. Well, there's 20 times that amount of practices behind the scenes. So there's that. I also think from my own talent, like I'll start there. And I've said this point before on lives. I was a kid that worked really hard as a teenager. Like I started going to private quarterback coaches as like a 6th, 7th, 8th grader. And I came in early to 8th grade Wednesday late starts to study the playbook. And I was very much a guy that was like working hard. And I say that because I think I tapped into my ceiling as a quarterback earlier than a lot of guys who do make it. For example, like, you know, a guy like a Cam Ward or a guy like a Sam Darnold or, you know, some of these guys that, you know, blossom later on in their careers. Like, you know, really wasn't even a national prospect until he was like after his junior year kind of thing. Like after my junior year, dude, I had already had every offer that I wanted. You know, I was like well down the process. And so as a result of that, when I got into college, I don't think I had as much ceiling to tap into. Which that's one thing I'm wary of now, analyzing guys from the other side of the table is, hey, when you're projecting a kid going from college to NFL, how much ceiling does he have left to tap into? You know, what's the runway ahead of him? And I think looking back, I didn't have as much ceiling to tap into as other guys. I also think I've made this point before. If I was just 2 years younger, I don't think I would have been a 5-star quarterback. I don't think I would have been the number one quarterback in the country. I don't think I would have had all that because the game had evolved where dual threat quarterbacks were a premium, complex playbooks, which as a guy who was studious and, that would have been an advantage for me because I could process a lot. Playbooks got dumbed down, which then that skill set was not as much of a premium. Rightfully so. I think it's stupid to have your quarterbacks be thinking and processing so much, but that was a skill set I did have. That then the game changed, and so that skill set of mine was not as valuable. So the game evolved as well. And then also just like the external factors. I mean, I had 5 head coaches. Every single quarterback competition I lost was to a guy who ended up being an NFL starting quarterback. I wasn't losing battles to scrubs. I went 2-5 as a starter in college football. I've never lost to a team that was not a top 10 team in the country. So if we had, easier out of conference schedules, maybe the ramp up period and all that's different. So tons of different factors. It's a long-winded way of answering that question, but that's a good compound answer there. Jaden, when you were sleeping in your office, were there any close calls? Gosh, true OG. Jaden, MVP of the chat. Sorry, Nicole. I see you over there on YouTube. But Jaden, the niche question of the day. My first job after football, working at Gary V in Hudson Yards in New York City to save money during the summer because I was traveling a decent amount. I slept in my office's lactation room, which was money. I saved about 10 grand. So when people are complaining about finances, go sleep in your lactation room, especially when you're living in New York. Save yourself 10 grand. 6 months later, needed a car when I moved back to LA, bought that car for 10 grand. I bought that car by sleeping in my office. Good little deal. Yes, close calls. Probably once a week, the janitor lady would try to get into the door, and the room was so small that my air mattress that I would blow up would block the door. So you physically couldn't open the door because the air mattress reaching the whole way. And when that happened, I was just like fingers crossed that she won't bring in security or whatnot. And then it ultimately got to a point after many close calls, and I was like, I don't want to be falling asleep, being anxious all the time. I pulled her aside one night because I was the last one. I was finishing my MBA at USC online, which is another reason. I was in the office till 10 p.m. every night anyways. So I was like, might as well just sleep here because I was doing my day job, working for Gary, and then finishing my MBA online at USC. And one night I was like, hey, I'm the guy that's sleeping in the room. I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm happy. We're okay. But I'm the guy sleeping in the room. Don't tell anyone. And luckily she didn't. And it was clutch. I'd always wake up at 6 a.m. before everyone got in. Never got caught. I would go to Crunch Fitness, either work out or at least shower there at the very least, and then walk back into the office at 8 a.m. like nothing had changed. And it was clutch. It was clutch. Cooper. Gotcha. What else we got? Ben, what's going on? Will Michigan go undefeated? Nope. DeJay, I wasn't losing QB battles to scrubs. There you go. Got to put that on a shirt or something like that. It is crazy, though. Cody Kessler, Kenny Pickett, Ben DiNucci, Sam Darnold. Trojans losing 3+ games this year? Unfortunately, I think so. I have the Vegas over on USC games, or USC wins, but the over still means that they're winning more or they're losing more than 3 games. So I have them losing Illinois, Notre Dame, Nebraska, and Oregon. The Illinois-Nebraska one, it'll be tough, but people forget, man. USC fans were on me for that, man. But they have USC at Illinois September 27th. That's going to be the biggest home game for Illinois in recent memory, period. Not just this year, period. Champagne's going to be rocking and rolling. And then you go November 1st, Nebraska. I think that might be Nebraska's biggest home game up until that date as well. Nebraska, year 2, Dylan Raiola in Lincoln, Nebraska. It's going to be colder. That's a tough game too, man. So yes, to answer your question, I got USC losing more than 3 games this year. Was there a moment in your media internship where you thought I could actually be great at this? Cruise World. I mean, my first reaction there is I still feel like I'm trying to figure that out, right? Like I got as a TikTok question. I got a good following on TikTok, but I still feel like I'm trying to get there. Trying to make moves. But I would say when I got hurt at Pitt and Pat Narduzzi gave me the mic on to announce the freshman scrimmage on the loudspeaker, and it wasn't just, hey, some like corny, like, foo-foo thing. It was like kind of legit. And I had like half a dozen people right after be like, dude, you got to give broadcasting a try whenever football ends for you. Like, you got to give it a try. That was when I was like, all right, I think I got something here. And maybe after the first actual game I called too. Jason H, 889, how close were you to going to Oklahoma? So there was like a 2-week period in February of my junior year of high school. I committed to USC in April of my junior year of high school. There was like a 2-week period in February where I remember I told my mom, like, I don't know how I'm going to make this decision between Oklahoma and USC. I really, really liked both schools. There was positives to both of them, but I never was truly close to committing to Oklahoma. I went down for a second unofficial to USC after that 2-week period. Like, this is where I want to be. And then when I left that official, like walking on campus to that parking lot with my dad, I made like a pact to myself, or someone had told me, like, do not commit when you're on campus, because you're going to have all the vibes of the good vibes when you're on campus, and the coaches want you to commit when you're there. Do not commit when you're on campus. Like, get home, reset, and then do it. And once everything wears off, kind of like a wedding day kind of thing. Actually, not that you're going to back out on a commitment on a wedding day, but like, the emotions on wedding day, like everything's riding high, and then you kind of come back down to earth. But it was funny because my dad, who's like the most level-headed guy that I know, when I was walking to the garage, I told him, I was like, Dad, I think I want to commit to USC at the end of that unofficial visit there. And he's like, let's go back and tell coach. Because my dad was juiced, man. My dad was fired up. And I was like, no. Which is funny because I was the 17-year-old guy, and usually my dad, helped me with those decisions. Long-winded way of saying no. I was never truly close to committing to Oklahoma, but I was between both those schools for like a 2-week period where I was kind of stressing. Do you wish you went to Oklahoma? I don't. This isn't just like woo-woo stuff, but with all the factors that I had or that I knew at the time, staying at USC was the best decision. Even though it didn't work out for me, but hindsight's 2020. Sean asks, what's your Mount Rushmore of college football broadcasters? Got to give Joel Klatt, Herbie 1, 2. I'll go. I mean, this is so classic, but there's a reason they're the top guys. I love Todd Blackledge. I'll go. I love his style. Todd does a good job of giving the viewer, as a guy who knows football, I feel like I get something that I don't see on screen from Todd Blackledge. He's 3. I mean, Yogi Roth, always paying attention to him. Who's a more niche guy that who's a more niche? It's got to be college football. I think Greg McElroy is one of the best podcasters for the college football world. I think to me, when I think Greg McElroy, I think his podcasts stand out to me more than his games. But one sec. I'm typing in college football broadcasters to make sure I'm not missing anyone. Oh, Jesse Palmer. So I'll go there. I'll go Jesse Palmer. Jesse Palmer's sharp, man. So go with me, Jesse, Yogi, Todd Blackledge, Joel Klatt, Kirk Herbstreit. And I'm aware that people are. I want all color commentators. I'm a color commentator, so I'm going to give. I'm going to shout out the color commentator world. But obviously, I'm missing like Gus Johnson and a lot of the play-by-play guys. Who else is out there? Yeah. Anyways. Hi, Max. Is it possible for me to play QB at 140 pounds sophomore in high school? Is it possible? Hell yeah. Let's get rid of the ball quick. Don't let your body as a sophomore in high school dictate what you can do. If you are someone who's at the end of puberty and you're 140 pounds, yeah, we might need to rethink the QB position or maybe football in general. But assuming that 140 pounds and you haven't, fully gone through puberty, don't let that hold you back from playing QB. How about NFL broadcasters? Ooh, let's go. NFL broadcasters, Mount Rushmore. This might be my last question, almost at the top of the hour. Ooh, Troy Aikman, for sure. For sure. I'll stick to just color commentators. I'll stick to just color commentators. I'm not going to get there with color commentators. Love Troy Aikman, Joe Buck. Let's see here. Romo. People don't like Romo. I don't mind Romo. Kevin Harlan. Kevin Harlan always fires me up. I know he's not a color commentator, but still. Who else we got, man? Love Adam Amin on the call. He's sharp. Love Adam Amin. I respect the hell out of Charles Davis, too, because Charles Davis did not admire broadcasters who have gone to the top and did a career to leverage to get there. Charles Davis is one of those guys. Trent Green, sharp. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Sorry, Nicole. That's all I got. Thanks, Jason. I'm excited. Travis, that's like a 10-minute answer, and I know you'll be back on the last live stream, or the next live stream. So on Thursday, hit me up about my process, and it'll be a good conversation point looking ahead to the football season. About Travis is asking how can I explain the work that goes into my prep for a game, film, interviews, the whole deal. Let me do that next week. And but on that note, I'll end the live there. Thanks for hanging. These will start picking up in a big way in terms of material and structure and all that come football season. So I'm excited about that. And as always, appreciate you guys hanging, and more to come. See you Thursday noon Pacific. Nicole MVP, got you. Yeah.